For today's video, we'll be taking a look at what I think could be the cleanest looking reverse connector AMD AM5 motherboard for white PC builds, the Gigabyte X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE. Featuring support for the latest Ryzen 9000 series of processors, the Ryzen 8000 series of APUs and CPUs, the older Ryzen 7000 series of CPUs, and potentially AMD's next generation Zen 6 processors that are likely to be on the AM5 socket. Let's take a closer look at this board to see if it's any good. To recap, AMD launched its Zen 5 Ryzen 9000 series of processors back in August last year, and the high-end X870E and X870 chipsets for the AM5 platform back in September 2024. January 2025 then saw the arrival of AMD's mid-range and entry-level 800 series chipsets in the form of the B850 and the B840. The X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE that we have here today belongs to the AORUS series of gaming-oriented motherboard offerings at the higher end, and this board in particular, being from the Gigabyte Stealth lineup of reverse connector motherboards, is clearly targeted at folks looking to achieve a really clean aesthetic for their white-coloured AMD AM5 PC build, where the board's various connectors and headers are located on the rear of the board instead. With that in mind, the board comes in a white-coloured box that has an AORUS wordmark emblazoned on the front, with a minimalist appearance that gives a big hint as to the appearance of the motherboard. Over on the rear of the box, we get a simple uncluttered summary of the specs for this board. We'll take a closer look at these specs later on in this video. I must say, this has got to be one of the most premium motherboard packaging that I've seen Gigabyte put out till date. With that, let's have a look at the contents of the box. Opening it up's quite an experience. We've got to first remove these two seals to pop off the lid from the box. With the first lid out of the way, we get another lid, where upon lifting it up, we get a 3D pop-up cutout of the AORUS eagle motif that's pretty eye-catching, along with an AORUS case badge nestled in an opening on the side. And we're still not done with lids. Opening this third and final lid allows us to catch a glimpse of the motherboard, which we'll now set aside to see what other accessories Gigabyte's included with it. With the divider out of the way, first up, we get a multilingual installation guide. And this is accompanied by a regulatory information leaflet, as well as a sheet of AORUS stickers. Moving on, we get a Wi-Fi antenna in white that features the new Wi-Fi Easy plug connector, which makes connecting and disconnecting it from the board a breeze. We also get two SATA 3 cables in white. And these are accompanied by a G connector in white that simplifies the process of hooking up your PC's front panel connectors to the motherboard. Rounding things off, we get 3 packs of rubber pads that can be used to add additional support for your double-sided or single-sided M.2 drives. In terms of motherboard aesthetics, the Stealth series is all about very clean looks, and this is evident in the appearance of the X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE. We see that Gigabyte has gone for a full silver and white aesthetic. Even the various plastic hardware bits are coloured in white, making this board really suitable for you folks out there who are intending to build a fully white coloured AMD AM5 PC. The board comes with an integrated I/O shield design with chunky silver heatsinks, and over on the rear, we see that the PCB is coloured in both white and grey, and we also get a metal backplate in white with no shortage of AORUS motifs emblazoned on it. In fact, we even get an AORUS chibi motif that looks as if it's peering out at you from behind the metal backplate, which is pretty cute. Fans of integrated aesthetic LEDs for their motherboards will be pleased to note that Gigabyte has included a rectangular lighting accent right next to the RAM slots that, as far as I can tell, is an aesthetic accessory that serves to conceal the various ICs and pins sticking out from behind the various hardware connectors found on the rear of the motherboard. This brings us on to the board's VRM heatsinks, which are decently sized, and Gigabyte has included 16 +2+2 power phases with 80 amp power stages. In case you're wondering, the X870 AORUS Stealth ICE uses a 6-layer PCB design. In terms of M.2 drive cooling, we get heatsink coverage for all 4 of the board's M.2 slots, where we get a standalone heatsink for the first M.2 slot, as well as a large rectangular heatsink that serves to cool the remaining 3 M.2 slots that the board comes with. With the large rectangular heatsink out of the way, we catch a glimpse of the passive heatsink that's used to cool the X870 chipset. For memory support, the X870 AORUS Stealth ICE comes with 4 DDR5 slots that, as of the time of publishing this video, comes with support for up to 256GB of RAM and the DDR5 8200 standard. In terms of front panel USB connectivity, over on the rear of the board, we get a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 Type-C front panel header along the long edge of the board, and further down from it, a USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A front panel header that provides support for up to 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type-A ports. We do also get 2 USB 2.0 front panel headers along the bottom edge of the board, with each header providing support for 2 USB 2.0 Type-A ports for a total of 4 ports. Some interesting features to highlight: back at the top of the motherboard on the front side, we get a set of status LEDs that can help with troubleshooting PC startup issues, a power button that allows you to power up your PC, a reset button, also termed a multi-key button by Gigabyte, that can be reprogrammed from within the BIOS to serve other purposes, as well as a QFlash Plus button that allows you to update the board's BIOS without needing to install a CPU, RAM, or graphics card. We also get a debug LED that can help further troubleshoot PC power-on self-test issues. Over on the rear of the board, we get 2 temperature sensor headers right next to the 24-pin ATX power connector, which can be hooked up to thermistor cables so as to monitor the temperature of devices within your PC. Moving to the bottom edge of the board, we get a noise detection header that can be hooked up to an optional noise detection cable to monitor noise levels within your PC case, a clear CMOS header, as well as a traditional 2-pin reset header that you can hook up to a reset switch. Finally, we get a TPM header right here for an optional discrete Gigabyte TPM module. In terms of expansion slots, this board comes with a premium-looking PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for a graphics card. The said slot sports Gigabyte's PCIe UD slot design that reinforces the slot for use with heavy graphics cards. As can be seen, the slot also comes with the PCIe Easy Latch Plus feature that helps make removing a graphics card from the slot less of a painful affair. We do also get a full-length PCIe 4.0 X16 slot that operates at X4 mode. Do note that PCIe 5.0 is only supported when you have a Ryzen 9000 series or Ryzen 7000 series processor installed. It's worth noting that the Ryzen 8000 series of APUs and CPUs only support the PCIe 4.0 standard. Let's move on to talk about storage connectivity options. First up, we get 2 SATA 3 ports on the rear of the motherboard. In terms of M.2 slots, the X870 AORUS Stealth ICE comes with 2 PCIe 5.0 X4 M.2 slots and 2 PCIe 4.0 X4 M.2 slots. Do note that all of these slots support NVMe SSDs only. M.2 SATA drives will not work in any of these slots. In addition, it's great to see that Gigabyte's implemented, in my opinion that is, a more palatable way of managing the lane sharing situation that we've seen with the earlier wave of X870E and X870 motherboards. In short, due to chipset PCIe lane limitations and the fact that USB 4 support is mandated by AMD for X870E and X870 boards, we saw that for earlier X870E and X870 boards that come with two PCIe 5.0 X4 M.2 slots, their primary PCIe 5.0 X16 slot for a graphics card had to share PCIe lanes with the said second PCIe 5.0 X4 M.2 slot, which is less than ideal. With the X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE, we still get some form of lane sharing, but this time it's between the USB 4 controller and the second PCIe 5.0 X4 M.2 slot, that is, slot M2B_CPU. If you have a M.2 drive installed in slot M2B_CPU, both the USB 4 controller and slot M2B_CPU will operate at PCIe 5.0 X2 speeds instead. You do also get the option of configuring slot M2B_CPU to run at PCIe 5.0 X4 speeds instead from within the BIOS, in which case the USB 4 ports will be disabled entirely. Unlike earlier iterations of X870E and X870 boards, I do think that it's fantastic that end users finally get the ability to select which setting best fits their respective use cases. That said, we've got three noteworthy features with the M.2 slots. First up, the M.2 heatsinks feature a toolless design called M.2 Easy Latch Click, which makes removing and reinstalling the heatsinks really easy. Next up, we've got M.2 Easy Latch Plus, which makes installing and removing a M.2 drive a toolless affair. Finally, the second PCIe 5.0 X4 M.2 slot comes with a heat dissipation feature called M.2 Easy Flex, where we get a thermal pad on an elastic base that can help to improve contact between the SSD and the heatsink, which is great. Again, do bear in mind that PCIe 5.0 is only supported with a Ryzen 9000 series or Ryzen 7000 series processor installed. The Ryzen 8000 series of APUs and CPUs only support the PCIe 4.0 standard. For audio, Gigabyte has included a higher-end Realtek ALC1220 audio codec. In terms of wired internet connectivity, the board comes with a Realtek RTL8126 chip that provides support for 5 Gigabit Ethernet, while Wi-Fi support is courtesy of a Qualcomm QC-NCM865 Wi-Fi 7 part, which supports the 320 MHz channel width and also serves up Bluetooth 5.4 support. In the cooling and RGB departments, the board comes with 8 fan headers that are located in these areas of the board. Also included are 3 Gen 2 addressable RGB headers as well as a single 12V RGB header located in these areas. Moving over to the rear I/O, the X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE goes for an integrated I/O shield design, but the said I/O shield also comes with ventilation openings in the form of parallelogram shapes. The board comes with 4 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A ports, a HDMI 2.1 port that supports a maximum resolution of up to 1496 by 2160 at 60Hz, 4 USB 2.0 Type A ports, as well as 2 USB 4 ports that also support DisplayPort video output with a maximum resolution of 3840 by 2160 at 240Hz. Moving on, we get 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A ports with this port here supporting the Q-Flash Plus feature, a 5 Gigabit Ethernet port, a USB 10 Gbps Type-C port, Wi-Fi antenna connectors with the new Wi-Fi Easy Plug design, as well as your usual audio jack connectors. To sum up, the Gigabyte X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE is yet another example of Gigabyte really nailing it when it comes to delivering on motherboards designed for clean-looking, all-white PC builds. It very definitely looks and feels the part as a premium rear connector motherboard, from the packaging and of course to the product itself, where I do think it's one of the nicest looking AMD AM5 motherboards that I've had the chance to handle till date. In terms of specs, we get a laundry list of features that one would come to expect of a premium motherboard offering. We're talking about a decent VRM setup that should handle the entirety of AMD's Ryzen 9000 series lineup with ease, PCIe 5.0 support for both a graphics card and two M.2 drives with a much improved way of handling the inevitable lane sharing due to chipset PCIe lane count limitations, speedy 5 Gigabit Ethernet coupled with a full-fat Wi-Fi 7 module that supports the 320 MHz channel width, dual USB 4 ports and a plethora of USB Type-C and Type-A connectivity options. The list goes on and on. As of the time of publishing this video, the Gigabyte X870 AORUS STEALTH ICE is available to purchase for a price of around $310 from Newegg. Viewers from Singapore can purchase this board for a price of around 575 Singapore dollars from local PC hardware retailers. With that, thank you so much for watching, hit the like button and get subscribed if you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys around the next time.